Hello traders, this is Rich from tradesight. Here's a look at our market leading stocks via our proprietary scans for the coming session. This is going to be for Monday, December 9th, 2013. Right now we've got a fair amount of sell signals stacked up in the NASDAQ patch. Even though we're having a pretty robust day, we're going to wind up coming in with a downward bias for Monday. We've got a fair amount of contra signals, and that's where we're up on the day but closing below the day's open. So definitely keep an eye on those for Monday. They could be the most powerful ones given the current setup. First Solar had a nice short scalp in that today. That one is 4% below the day's open. That one has a downside CPS, so that should also be given some extra emphasis for next week. Got a volume bump in EA here, but we don't have a signal either way. Sina is notably weak, more than 4% below the day's open, and it's about 2% below the day's VWAP with a downside CPS. So definitely keep that on the radar for the first couple of days next week. The financials are a little bit more paired off than the NASDAQ patch. Not nearly the same amount of weakness. We do have some signals on both sides. We've got one volume bump in the CME. Moving on to the energy names, pretty good weakness here. Fair amount of contra signals. CHK's got a downside CPS condition. That's more than 3% below the day's open. That one looks pretty weak. BTU and most of the coal names are getting hit pretty hard today. That was 4% below the day's open. Valero having a strong up day, 1.5% above the day's open with an upside CPS. Keep an eye on the VWAP there. We'll definitely like to see that one close above the VWAP. As far as the generals go, the generals are maybe biased a little bit to the buy side. Definitely looks different than the NASDAQ patch, but NASDAQ has been leading the market, so that's the one that probably should get the most emphasis. Housing names definitely to the sell side here. Most of them are in the contra sell condition, so definitely keep housing on the list short for next week. Pretty much the same situation with the transports as the generals. We're kind of paired off here without any real bias. Couple on the buy side, couple on the sell side. And finally, the commodities are pretty weak. Gold's lower on the day. We've got some downside CPS conditions. FCX got a downside one. Newmont's got a downside CPS, and some of these agricultural names are pretty weak as well. So commodities definitely not looking too healthy. U.S. Steel is getting hit really hard today. That one's almost 4% below the day's open, which is going to leave a really nasty candle on the daily chart. All right, folks, I'm just going to leave you those few thoughts before the next session. So, guys, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week. This has been Rich for tradesight. Thanks for listening.